Race 2 of the 2003 season, and for many of the teams freed of the restrictor plate racing of Daytona, the regular season starts here on this 1-mile speedway with different bankings at each end, D-shape, where the drivers will chase their cars handling and the asphalt all day. Nice crowd in the grandstand as it's a beautiful spring day, clear skies, bright sun, but heavy, heavy winds across this racetrack. We're set to go racing, so let's go trackside for today's opening ceremonies.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Like Clay Henry was watching John Travolta last Sunday. Good job. 43 Winston Cup drivers at the ready. Only one hour practice session. And now they tackle one of the roughest surfaces in NASCAR in a true test of tires and crew chiefs and drivers' ability to communicate and adjust throughout the day. 400 miles at Rockingham coming at you. Congratulations to Dave and his new crew chief, Booty Barker, and that whole Jasper Engines and Transmissions team. He'll be on the pole as we take a look at the Napa starting grid, and Johnny Benson, who got his first career win right here in October, is right alongside a Ford and a Pontiac. Row 2, Mark Martin, twice a Winston Cup winner here, and Sterling Marlin, runner-up in this race a year ago. Bill Elliott, 3-time Rockingham winner. Ricky Craven, 8 top 10s here. Jamie McMurray, who won at Charlotte last October, and Rusty Wallace, a 5-time winner here, making his 600th career start today. Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte, who both won here in 2000. That's your top 10. Have a look through the rest of the starting grid. And we'll have Darrell crank up the old wireless here.
Hey, JB, this is Darrell Waltrip up in the Fox TV booth. Bud, you got a copy? What's that? Not sure. This is a DW up in the tower up here, guys. Can I talk to JB there a second? Go ahead, Jack. You know, I don't think we're getting through to JB. He doesn't seem to. I don't think they know who it is.
Let's see if we can check back under a caution a little later on.
That's not unusual, because I know sometimes the radio and TV guys that come on my radio, and I'd say to Hammond, what's going on? Who are those people anyway?
The jet dryers are out just blowing the track clean of mostly paper debris, wrappers and things like that, because we've got 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts here, and it's really raising havoc.
And we haven't had any cars on the track, you know, since Friday. So the track's pretty dirty, a lot of sand and dirt blowing around. Really windy.
The reason you see two different groups out there, two pace cars, you have one pace car leading the top 20, the first 10 rows, and another pace car leading the rest of the field. This is for the first 2 pace laps, because this is where these guys get their RPM reading for their pit road speed of 45 miles an hour, and it's easier to divide them into 2 groups. You can get a little better reading.
And they've added 1 pace lap just to get the track blown clear. The jet dryer's pulling in now.
Plus it's cool. And sometime, you know, to get the temperatures up in the engines and everything, they'll add an extra lap or so also. So that's just kind of courtesy for the teams. Get the fluids hot.
43 cars starting. There you see 393 laps, 400 miles. The pit window. We have 2 pit windows. We have the fuel pit window that we always talk about, but trust me, this is the one we'll be talking about most of the day, and that is the tire pit window. About 65 to 75 laps. If you try to go 90 laps on those tires, my driver is going to be whining.
All right, Pontiac safety car is going to make that hard left turn this time. Race number 2 in 2003. Here we go.
All right, we're coming down here, folks. On their feet. Green flag. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Mark Martin in that 6 car. He's putting pressure on Dave Blaney in that 77 early. He wants to get those 5 points for leading this first lap early. Blaney's on the high side, though, gets that momentum going.
And this is the first lap that's been run on this racetrack since Friday.
Dave Blaney leads the first lap by about 2 inches, I think.
Now, it's not just that Martin is so good at this racetrack, and he is, but this, to me, spells championship contender.
Well,
right from go.
This is totally uncharacteristic. Mark Martin is not a guy that goes up there and takes it to you. He usually lets it come to him, but today he wants it bad.
Not yet. Blaney holds on, lap 2.
And this is the first time Dave Blaney has ever led laps at Rockingham.
And he's pumped. I mean, he's got a new crew chief. He says it's a new kind of car. Everything's different on this race car, and he is pumped, and he's poised to go fast all day long.
Single file. Ricky Craven coming up hard on the outside. Matt Yoakum.
Well, Mike, in qualifying, Mark Martin remarked to his team he couldn't believe how well that 6 car turned on his qualifying attempt. He told his team this morning, if this car turns all day like it did in qualifying and doesn't get extremely tight, look for us to stomp them. That's confidence.
But Darrell, the 32 car, Craven right there, the Tide car, you about knew he was going to be the first one to start moving that race car up the racetrack. That's the great thing about Rockingham. You can run all over the place. You can run low at one end, high at the other.
Yeah, that's kind of what you do. The car dictates where you're going to go. Of course, some drivers like to get up there against that fence. They feel a little bit more comfortable up there.
And already we see cars climbing the hill, especially down in turns 1 and 2, working the high end of the racetrack.
Now, folks, if you're at home there and you got a piece of paper, just take you a piece of paper and draw you a great big D. And that's what this racetrack is shaped like. When you come off of turn 2 onto the straight part of your D, there's not a lot of room. But when you come off of turn 4 around this big sweeping front straightaway, you can let the car do some different things. That's why you might run different lines on both ends of the racetrack.
And the field is now strung out the whole length of the back straightaway. Dave Blaney, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, and there goes Craven up to the high side again. That's what makes this racetrack so fun to watch a Winston Cup race at. So many different choices of lines.
You can get such a run off of the corner when you're up high like that. Your car's free. You're back in the throttle a lot earlier, and you can really get a run down the straightaway when you get up high like that.
What's happened to Johnny Benson, dropping from 2nd to 6th? Got hung on the outside for just a bit. Now he and Sterling Marlin battle for 6th spot.
Oh, there's battling going on everywhere right now.
And you know, Darrell, if the car likes the high line, I like it as a crew chief because that's a little easier on the tires up there. You're not working them as hard as you would if you were at the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh, what we said, when you get down in that hole, down on the bottom right there, and you're working that wheel and grinding that right front tire, it won't take it very long.
Steve Burns on Johnny Benson.
And Mike, there may be nothing wrong with Johnny Benson. Just seconds before the green flag, Johnny told his crew, guys, I'm going to be a little bit slow at the start, but hang with me. Once we get going, this thing's going to be bad fast.
Patience. Meanwhile, Craven is closing on the leaders. There's the gap to that bright orange Pontiac of Ricky Craven, and it is narrowing every lap.
And so many new things. I know they sat on the pole here a year ago. They've always ran well here. This is actually the same chassis. We got Mark all over Blaney here for the lead coming off turn 4, and he's going to lead lap 9.
I think that Blaney may have said, okay, Mark, you're hounding me. I'm going to let you go. That's good driving.
Well, Mark got right up against Blaney's left rear corner, kind of edged him out of the way.
And it broke his momentum. Craven's going to take the 2nd spot away down the backstretch. But again, this is the same chassis they ran here. But remember, they've made the swap from the Ford to the Pontiacs, and that's a big engine change as well.
I'm going to show you what happened going down the back here just a moment ago. We're talking about good, tight, close racing all in the field. Watch these guys. They come off turn 2 here. The teammates ran into each other. Got some damage on the back of the 38 car there. I think Dale Jr. must get into the back of him. Coming up off the corner. Whoa, checked up. That was almost a big one.
There with these guys, they have 10 laps on their tires. Already these things are starting to slide around.
Yeah, Dale Jr.'s got damage. He hit the back of the 38 car and it damaged the left front. He's got it into the tire.
Got a small left front fender rub there, Junior. Just in the corners.
Now that may or may not be a problem. You can wear that down, the tire will push that fender out of the way as long as it's not affecting the way it's driving. If it's hanging up in the fender, he's not going to like that.
Meanwhile, Bill Elliott has moved to 3rd, Rusty Wallace to 4th, Blaney fades to 5th.
And this is so gut-wrenching for a crew chief,
Darrell. Away a little bit, still inside.
That's Ty Norris's spotter talking to him right there, because you know you need to bring that thing to pit road to get that fender off that tire. But if you do it here, as long as this pit road is under green, you're going to go a minimum of 2 laps down.
Just have to leave it up to the driver. I mean, I always hated that when they said, you make the call.
If you can back off a little bit and save your tires by slowing down a little bit, that's not a bad thing. If you need to kind of stay after it because the leader's gaining on you, you might do something different. Now, rate car, they'll argue like a flat left front tire.
Jeff, I think finally that fender rubbed that tire, but the caution is out, so what a break for him, because this is the competition caution right here.
Boy, that was a big break.
What a break.
It is lap 45, and NASCAR told the drivers in their mandatory drivers meeting this morning
Flat tire jack, somebody. Got to get the car up first.
that if there was not a caution prior to lap 45, NASCAR would put one out so the drivers could evaluate tire wear.
And you heard him telling the crew we have to have the flat tire jack, because what he's talking about, the frame rail will be so low because that tire's flat, they have a jack that's a little shorter to get the left side up.
A recap as 6 rookies started today's Subway 400. Casey Mears, one of those, and then Tony Raines having problems. Little E with the tire. His day began with difficulty. Todd Bodine bringing out a caution, a dump for the day. Another rookie, Jack Sprague, spinning Kenny Wallace here, Jeff Hammond.
Yeah, so that unexcusable right there. When you're a rookie, you got to be patient, not be getting in a hurry this early in the race. And there you see Jerry Nadeau also getting a little bit of help from Little Lee going around. And here comes Jeremy Mayfield, who got hit in the back end by John Andretti.
Right, just moments ago, and this is not the replay of what you just saw. It's Earnhardt Jr. having problems.
Restart at lap 179, and what a knot of cars at the front of the pack behind Rusty Wallace.
And you see what I was talking about, Rusty's car? He is so fast down the straightaway. I mean, he is really moving down the straightaway. Just drove right under Mark and went on by him.
Of course, you got Bill Elliott in the 9 and his teammate Jeremy Mayfield in the 19, along with Dale Earnhardt Jr. with this group, trying to catch a caution to get that lap back.
Now, earlier when Dale Earnhardt Jr. had his spin, we'll pick up some audio.
Keep an eye on that 8 car. He's crazy loose up there in front of you. Next car up. That's all.
And Jr. was indeed loose. A single car spin.
And it just comes right out from under you. And off of that corner, it's a little bit of dip in that turn right there, and they'll come around on you in a heartbeat.
Plus, Darrell, I'm sure he was starting to overdrive his race car because he's about to go a lap down.
Now look what happens in all this to that orange Chevrolet of Tony Stewart. The left front fender gets all banged up because right behind Jr. you'll see Kyle Petty come into view, and then Stewart.
It's Tony right there.
Matt Yoakum.
Mike, they did cut away about a 2-inch by 11-inch section of sheet metal on that left front, and basically they put a huge tape patch on there to try to help that race car's damage. They're not going to know how severe the damage is aero-wise until he runs a few laps, but Tom Dean was on the wall. They were contemplating pitting again, but they just ran out of time under that caution, putting one more big piece of tape on the front.
If there's a corner that's critical on the front of a car, the left front here is critical, because that's the corner you want to keep planted. That's the one that makes these cars turn through the corner. Anything distorted or a hole in it's going to hurt these cars turning.
So, sometimes I have had trouble like that, Larry, and I was so loose that I couldn't drive my car. Then I'd tear up my fender, and all of a sudden I wasn't loose anymore.
Cooling that left front tire, too.
That's right.
All right, let's look at our pit stop graphic from that last round of pit stops. Let's see who the winners and the losers were. There you see Rusty Wallace in first, second. But look down here at Tony Stewart. In 24th, out 32nd. Mark Martin was the real gainer on it, going from second to first.
Kurt Busch closing in on his Roush Racing teammate Mark Martin and going to the outside for second place.
You saw that race here last fall. These two guys kind of went at it. I think that Mark has definitely shared the wealth as far as how you get around Rockingham.
But I'm going to tell you what, Kurt Busch, he's got where it don't matter where we go, he's competitive. In fact, going all the way back to Martinsville in the fall, he has finished 6th or better in every race that he's been in.
And all of a sudden, look last week at Daytona, they throw the red flag, and he's sitting in 2nd place.
As he closes in on our race leader, Rusty Wallace, here's Dick.
Now, Rob Fuller, who is the rear tire changer for Rusty Wallace, simply could not believe that they have twice been beaten by Mark Martin coming off pit road today. So he took a look at the pit map and figured out that Mark Martin has got an opening in front of his pit, not in his head, and they figured out that's why Mark is beating him off pit road. To Matty.
And Dick, with the trouble by Dale Earnhardt Jr., it also gives him an easy entrance into his pit stall. One comment Mark Martin told Ben Leslie's crew chief, he said, these guys are running a lot harder at the get-go of a run than I really want to run. He says, we are good, but we're not as good as we look. That's why they made the wedge adjustment and the air pressure adjustment on the last stop, trying to make that good race car great.
Yeah, Mark said earlier in the weekend he wanted his car to be good 20 or 30 laps
on pit road
into a run.
We hear he has a flat tire. He'll probably go at least 2 laps down. Remember, 45 miles an hour, and that can seem like it takes forever getting down this pit road under green.
Well, let's see how much time he actually loses, Larry. He came in right there in the thick of things. Let's see where he goes back out.
Now here comes Bobby Labonte down pit road. They're not entirely sure what's wrong. He has a vibration. They believe the problem is on the right side. Possible flat tire, maybe a tire that's loose. They just don't know. What a disappointment. Labonte had run with the leaders. He is now a lap down. Rusty Wallace has just blown on by him. They're going to change all 4 just to make sure. And this is going to make it very difficult for Bobby Labonte to win this race today.
Leaving the pits there. He's just now going out, back out onto the back straightaway, and here comes Rusty to the line now. So he lost a lap and a half.
So it's Wallace, Busch, Martin, Burton, Ward Burton, Craven, McMurray. And then Dale Jarrett running in 7th.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dale Jarrett qualified 9th here. We're riding aboard with Dale Jarrett, but he slipped way back when the race started. But I think it's one of those cases they've been adjusting on that car. Now he's back in the top 10.
Yeah, Brad Parrott, I heard him say that the 38 car, Elliott Sadler came down here and tested. He said, you know, Dale didn't run that good here last fall. We're just going to put the 38 car set up under Dale's car today.
And what our guys from the pits are telling me, he's been loose all day long, and they've been slowly adjusting. And the reason you want to be careful in adjusting a loose race car, you know this racetrack will tighten up the more rubber that gets put down on it. There you see his interval in the top right corner. He was gaining just a little bit on our leader, Rusty Wallace.
Here's the thing that you can bet. Rusty might be sitting up there saying, I'm not going to run but so hard. But that cat behind him, he's driving it for all it's worth.
Kurt Busch looking low on Wallace once again in turn 3 for the lead.
He's after him with the gusto of a hungry hound, I can tell you that.
202 laps, just past halfway, and the only change in the front 5 is Ricky Craven, who has moved past Ward Burton for 4th. Kurt Busch got to Rusty Wallace, but couldn't get through Rusty Wallace.
And Mark just sits there and is just patiently. Man's got more patience than Job. He just sits there and waits.
But right now, a little over 25 laps in this run, he's about a 10th or 2 quicker than those guys up there running 1st and 2nd, Rusty Wallace and Kurt Busch. He's just lurking.
Yes, he is.
But this is a typical Rockingham. We're just past the halfway, and even though we've had 5 cautions, 41 of the cars of the 43 that started this race are back in. John Andretti's back out there. The only 2 out is Todd Bodine and Derek Cope.
One of the fastest cars on the track is this one, Ricky Craven's Pontiac, which just moved up into 4th place.
It's like maybe they got the adjustment off a little bit a few pit stops ago on this car. Now they've got it coming back their direction.
And you can think that that'd probably be normal, Larry. That's a new car, a new body style for them. Pontiac, they had Fords last year, going through a learning curve.
You look at our Fox tracks, the interval right there, he's chopping it down right now on our leader, Rusty Wallace, down to 4.5 seconds.
2 cars behind him, Dale Jarrett, running in 6th place, 5.5 seconds off the lead. And we picked up this exchange.
560, position 7, minus 4 seconds. You're quicker than everybody. There's a long run here, tire management.
Every time I ever heard that you're quicker than everybody, I said, well, how come I'm not catching them then?
Or how come they're getting smaller?
Yeah, how come they keep getting smaller? I'm not catching anybody.
Well, he's catching Ward Burton and passes Ward for 5th place. And right behind them works the 42 of Jamie McMurray, who's probably passed more cars than anybody today, coming out of the pack on each restart. He is 7th. And behind him, the man who won this race 1 year ago, Matt Kenseth, back to the lead. Kurt Busch is there.
I know Rusty's sitting there saying, kid, just calm down. Just take it easy. We got a long way to go yet. And Rusty's up there saying, ride a little bit, and the kid's saying, race, 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 race. Mark's sitting back there saying, side-by-side racing? I've known that to cause a problem.
Of course, Kurt Busch has not led yet in this race, so he'd like to lead a lap to get those 5 bonus points.
Don't look at me like that. Exactly what they're saying. I know what they're saying.
I believe you.
I know what both those guys are saying.
All right, well, if you're Rusty, Darrell, why not just let him go?
Because you haven't won a race in over a year.
Good reason.
And you switched to Dodge, and your boss, Roger Penske, standing overhead up here. I could go on and on.
And if you're Kurt Busch, you won 3 of the last 6 races, finished 2nd 1 week ago, and you want to lead the points leaving here.
That's right, and he's doing it. He's working old Rusty over.
He still has not led a lap. Rusty's been edging him at the start-finish line every lap over the last 5 laps.
Horsepower. Get that horsepower down that straightaway.
5 different leaders today. Wallace, Mark Martin, Ricky Craven, pole sitter Dave Blaney, and Kyle Petty led a lap under caution.
Look at that thing go down that straightaway. I mean, that pulls away from him.
Kurt Busch hounded Rusty for the lead. You see Rusty coming up on a big pack of lap traffic here. Busch has a look. Look at that cluster up ahead.
Yeah, what I've been noticing about Rusty, Larry, is he's getting a little loose off, which is going to cause him to have to backpedal just a little bit up out of the corner. So I think that's what's happened to him.
That got Kurt Busch the lead.
Man, Rusty just about spun out, y'all.
He's going to lose 2nd place to Mark.
His car's gotten really bad loose. I'm sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to jump on you like that, but he turned it plumb sideways. His car's gotten loose off, and he just about spun that thing out.
Trying to get back around Martin and retake 2nd spot. Let's show you what happens.
Now you'll see why I jumped on you. Watch this. Coming here, coming under the 41, right about there. Oh, that baby did a number on
And he tried to turn it down to go under Casey Mears in the 41. That's when it got loose with him. Pinched it down. He's went back by Mark Martin to get back into 2nd place.
That's
now.
it, bud. Take a deep breath. Get back in your rhythm.
Rusty Spotter just telling him, hey, shake it off. Let's go. Find that groove again.
And they've now fallen a 1.5 seconds behind Kurt Busch.
This is when you don't really care how fast you're going right now. You're in that 10-lap window where you've got to stay out there for fuel mileage and thinking about the end of the race. You're racing, your numbers right now got to match up so you get to the end.
Greg Biffle is in as well. Biffle, the Busch Series champion, Winston Cup rookie.
Comes Tony Stewart down pit road.
Kenny Schrader.
And this will greatly shuffle the field. You see that tape on Tony's left front fender.
Here comes
He ran
Mark.
to the back of Kyle Petty while trying to dodge a spinning Earnhardt Jr.
Here comes Mark.
Mark Martin, one of 5 drivers to lead this race, is on pit road.
And he's the first to come. Trust me, it won't be but 2 or 3 laps. The rest of those guys in the top 10, they'll be there with him.
It really surprised me. I thought he would stay out. His car was handling pretty good, but Matt, what's it looking like?
Well, DW, Mark Martin's coming in. Look for, you can see the wrench going in the back window. Mark Martin's car just not to his liking, and they kept telling him, new cars on the outside, new tires on the inside, new tires outside. So finally, they just decided to give up the ghost and come in and get some fresh tires. Meanwhile, Dale Jarrett, he's been making a run 6 times. He has finished 2nd or better here. His new crew chief, Brad Parrott, a number of wins as a car chief, and through the years, also part part of Richard Petty's two lanes away, looking for his first win at the crew chief, making an air pressure adjustment in the left rear of the 88. To Dick.
Rusty Wallace is on his way down pit road, and he's going to change the track bar, put around the wedge and an air pressure. They're throwing a whole bunch of stuff at this car to try and tighten it up. 38, Elliott Sadler also in. Kurt Busch is on his way in.
Dave Blaney was in, Johnny Benson, Steve Hart, Jerry Nadeau, and the leader, Kurt Busch. Now on pit road, along with Ricky Craven and Jamie McMurray, all on pit road. Dick?
And Craven is on his way in as well. Rusty Wallace now on pit road, wrenches in both sides of the back end of that car, trying to tighten it up. Wallace had led the majority at this event until it just went away. Matt.
Over the past 6 races, Kurt Busch, the most productive driver dating back to last year. No adjustments on this Scott is Scott Radel. Ready to drop that jack to Steve.
Matt Kenseth in. He's got a new front tire changer this year, Matt. Justin Nottestead on the front tires. They'll make a slight air pressure adjustment, quarter pound out of the right rear. The 17 car was almost as fast as the leaders late in that run. 4 tires for Matt Kenseth.
Kenseth had picked up the lead and led 2 laps. This should put Sterling Marlin in front.
And Bobby Labonte in the 18 car, he came on the pit road. He went ahead and decided, hey, my car's good. I'm going to stay in sync with these guys. There you see him getting 4 fresh tires. Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, he's the pit road.
Something not right there, because Johnson came around turn 4 on the apron. He didn't sweep down off the banking like the other cars have been doing.
I think it was traffic. I think he had some people right behind him, Mike. It looked like he was needing to get down out of their way. And the thing about Labonte, he drove up a half a lap on these cats. So if his car's that good, he wants to stay with them. Right now, he's right there with Kurt Busch.
And Sterling Marlin has not yet pitted.
And I mean, right now he's giving up 2 seconds a lap, because what happens, he can't maneuver his race car. These cars are catching him with those fresh tires. You can't get out of the way fast enough.
Don't you think, though, Larry, that maybe they're trying to do that fuel thing, get in a window where they can make it on one more stop?
But I tell you, Darrell, you know that just almost, I mean, just look at Dale Jarrett drive away from him. I think we're going to see him on pit road right there. There it is. He's past his window, and he knows it because he's on pit road now for 4 tires.
Steve Burns waiting on Sterling.
On the last stop, they had handling problems. They're one of the best cars early in the race, but they took 2 rounds of wedge out and changed air pressure on the left side. This time, they think they finally have the car the way they want it. They'll make a chassis adjustment to the right rear. That's Sterling's number 40. They take a tearaway off the windshield. Jerry Schweitz pumps the gas in for the number 40 of Sterling Marlin. Service is done, and Sterling is headed down pit road.
And now we'll find out who made the right adjustment and who's quick after stops.
It's all said and done. Kurt Busch in the 97 car, he's back in the lead, but the real winner on this is Dale Jarrett in the 88. And the reason he's moved up to second, he was one of the first of the leaders to pit, got advantage of those fresh tires earlier.
Kurt Busch is not the fastest car on the track right now. That last lap, Mark Martin was, and this lap, Matt Kenseth is. Jimmy Johnson, who has picked up a spot from 16th to 15th, also running quite quickly. And here is Kenseth, who has pulled up on his Roush stablemate Mark Martin, and the defending champion of this race is going to take over third.
And he's right down on that white line where he won this race a year ago.
Turn 2, Jeremy Mayfield. A lot of smoke, a lot of fluid. Dale Jr. also.
Dale Jr. 19.
Caution is out. Al, will Bobby Labonte get his lap back? Did they already take the flag?
There he comes. Here he comes.
Joe Nemechek's going to get his back. Casey Mears is going to get his back. Bobby Labonte gets his lap back. Tony Raines gets one back.
Matt?
Trouble on the 97, a flat right front. That's why you saw him slow down considerably and start to go to the high side.
Well, if you're going to have a flat, when somebody else brings out the caution, boy, that's the time to have it.
It's kind of like living a charmed life. Yeah, you can see it. It's flat over on the right side.
The caution.
I could do have a right front flat.
That's Kurt Busch. There is Junior on the inside, and for the second time today, round he goes.
Same place.
Comes back up in the racetrack. Benson gets by, and poor old Jeremy, he got spun out earlier because somebody spun in front of him. Got hit by the 43 car, and I believe he just got it again. Same place, just around she goes.
Let's watch it from Johnny Benson's on board.
Now, pit road was closed because of this right here. Here's Jeremy Mayfield, a 19 car. He's right there at the entrance of pit road.
Well, let's see what happened to him.
More than likely, he got nailed from the back again.
That's bumper cam, real time. And here's what happened.
There he comes. He sees the car up in front of me, smoking. Bam. Hit that outside wall hard.
Do you have help?
I say that 99 car may have assisted.
Right now, the handle basically gone away on the 2 car, and I think pit stops are getting ready to start after this series of caution flags. Jeannie?
Well, guys, we talk so much about crew chiefs being cheerleaders and coaches to get their drivers into shape. Jeff Gordon told his crew before the stop, hey, great stops all day, let's keep it up, but I want a half round more off that right rear and drop that right rear tire pressure. Steve?
No adjustments on the 17 of Matt Kenseth, Jeannie. Crew Chief Robbie Reiser saying, nice and easy, boys. Let's go to Matt.
And an extra pump and a half on the right side by Scott Reno, the jackman for first because of that flat right front tire. Service complete, hitting Bergeron.
Ricky Craven takes a round in the right rear. He says he feels that the left front isn't gripping well enough. He hopes that's going to get it to grip better. Kurt Busch puts him off pit road.
Ricky Craven's crew gave him a good pit stop. He went from 5th to 3rd on that sequence of stops. Much easier to pass him on pit road than on that racetrack.
And that's a much improved race team over a year or so ago.
And one errant tire rolling out there.
Looks like it come off of Elliott Sadler's, the 38 car. It'll be a penalty if anybody claims it. Or if
Nobody's
you have your number.
The tires.
It's not my tire.
Yeah.
Elliott Sadler, the real loser on this whole deal, came out 7th because you saw that tire roll across pit road. Equipment leaving the pit box has to go the tail end of the longest line, so he'll restart this race with about 100 laps to go in 27th.
We're set for the restart, folks. We're going to crank it up for you.
There, bud. Green flag, green flag.
Pit road, Larry. He was on the double up restart. He passed cars on the wrong side and advanced his position after they passed the white line over in the 3rd turn, and NASCAR brought him in for that violation.
You know, you would just call that maybe a rookie error. It's a stop and go penalty, but he's going to go at least another lap down. He was already 1 lap down, so now he'll be 2 laps down.
Kurt Busch has taken off to a 1-second lead over Mark Martin. Ricky Craven now 3rd. Dale Jarrett, Matt Kenseth, and Rusty Wallace have battled since they dropped the green flag here for 5th place. And now settled out in that order with Dave Blaney and Jeff Gordon moving in on Wallace.
You know, a guy that started 36th, and he's just been progressively working his way forward. Jimmy Spencer in that 7 car. He's up to 13th place right now, but you know, his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin, he's always had a pretty good package for this place. Worked with Ward Burton for a number of years.
Yeah, who let the dogs out? That's what Spence is doing. He's letting the dog out right now.
Jimmy Spencer is driving like a man that wants to show people he can drive a race car.
Yes, he does. And he got a good team there with Tommy Baldwin and the crowd. They could surprise some people.
Greg Biffle working the outside on Mike Skinner. There's that 16, the rookie, trying to thread the needle. Show you where the rookies are in this race.
Oh, Gordon goes around.
He and Dale Jr. may have made contact, and Gordon's going to save it and keep it out of oncoming traffic. Jerry Nadeau also spins.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
7th yellow of the day at lap 298.
Joe Nemechek trying to come and get his lap back, but it's not going to work.
Boy, Jerry Nadeau doesn't want to pull out in front of all these guys coming here.
And Nadeau will not be able to stay on the lead lap.
Go real far.
Let's see what happened to Jeff Gordon.
My.
Got in the back of Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. didn't get in trouble.
I can tell you what that's all about. Dale Jr., a couple laps down, he passed Gordon going into 3 over there and slid up in front of him. And I don't know if that's, I don't know what happened after that. You'd have to ask them.
And we've been 7 laps since we pitted. Looks like most of the leaders are going to come to pit road, but this definitely puts them all in the window. They could go to the distance to the end. All the lead lap cars to pit road. Except Bobby Labonte in the 18 car. He stayed out.
Steve?
Robbie Reiser decided to go ahead and put 4 tires on. Russ Strupp is the jack man. Benji Grubb the gas man. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Now Kurt Busch says his car is just a little bit tight. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment in the left rear. Meanwhile, Mark Martin says no adjustments on the 6. Service complete for Busch. Dick?
Ricky Craven is in. He is also going to take 4 tires. They're not even sure if they're in their window in terms of being able to go all the way on fuel. Craven now out.
Craven's team, the tire team's doing a great job today, Larry. I mean, they getting him in and out there with everybody, keeping him right up front.
They have done a good job. You know, those guys really started to turn the curve last year with their pit stops. Pretty car over the last couple of years is blown engine.
Battle for 9th. Rusty Wallace, Matt Kenseth, and the 8th place car just ahead, 77 of Dave Blaney. Put Ward Burton in the picture as well. This battle for 8th place now.
Yeah, and the guy that's really, I mean, just falling off the pace is that 2 car. I mean, here he was, led the whole race. Looked like had the car to beat. Doesn't look that way now.
Clear high, inside only.
That's when you say, excuse me.
Here's a battle for the lead again. Bobby Labonte. Remember, he has 7 more laps on his tires than Kurt Busch, but he has not given up on Kurt Busch.
Yeah, but the way Bobby drives and the way Kurt drives, Kurt's tires might think they got more laps on them than they do.
Bobby Labonte's running that high groove.
Now they have passed Casey Mears, who was on the tail end of the lead lap, as they battle for the lead at 323 laps. 70 to go in the Subway 400.
You know, it's such an exciting feeling to be down in a pit and for the driver on the track to make up laps and to get yourself where you was out of contention. Now you're back in contention up there fighting for the lead. That does so much for your team.
And as we watch the leaders battle and Kurt Busch get a little loose, you see Dale Jarrett top of the screen. He has moved past Ricky Craven into 3rd.
The way these guys are driving, Larry, I mean, it indicates to me they think they can't make it and they're going to have to stop again.
There's probably some that's going to be borderline in making it. Right here, looking out of Dale Jarrett's, that's where it gets tough, getting into turn 1. If you look at the fuel tanks, notice Kurt Busch has a little more than Bobby Labonte. Dale Jarrett, he's about like Kurt Busch. These 2 guys right here, we feel like they probably can make it, but Bobby Labonte's going to be the one that's a little borderline.
Well, he came in and topped off there under that 1 caution a number of times.
And folks, our fuel data is extrapolated based on what these cars have done so far today. We do not have an actual fuel gauge in this car, in these cars, but if we did, it would look just like that.
We are making an educated guess.
Now, I've got to know about that word you used.
Extrapolated or fuel gauge?
Extrapolated. Extrapolated.
Matt Kenseth just went by his teammate, Jeff Burton, in the 99 car. That's for 8th position. Steve Burton.
Larry Mack, they feel like here in the 17th pits they can make it to the end on gas if they need to, but Matt Kenseth is a little concerned that he's used up too much of his tires since that last restart. Jeannie Zalasko.
Well, it's been truly a pleasure listening to Jamie McMurray on the radio, looking at this track through somewhat fresh eyes. He says right now he has a great car and that he can really hold through turns 1 and 2, turns 3 and 4. He says, I'm a joke, but I'm having fun.
Underneath Bobby Labonte for 2nd place.
And what they mean by that, Darrell, is when he picks the throttle up and picks the speed of the car up, the front wheels slide. It's not responding to the steering wheel turning.
Yeah, you're sitting back on the rear springs and kind of lifting up the front wheels, and they just take off with you.
And the only way you can do it, slow the speed of the car down. The steering wheel don't fix it.
Got to let the car take a set.
Matt Kenseth continues his march toward the front. Here he comes into frame right there. He's right on the back bumper of Jamie McMurray. This would be for 5th place.
I just think, based on what I've seen so far, I just think there's a bunch of guys down there who are pretty nervous about their fuel.
Now, Matt Kenseth is almost 0.2 of a second faster than this man, Kurt Busch, the race leader. Speeds at the line. And Kenseth takes over 5th.
I'm going to tell you who is gaining. Dale Jarrett, that 88 car. Kurt Busch is fixing to have his hands full.
Tell you who else is gaining is Matt Kenseth. He has caught Ricky Craven for 4th.
And right now, I think Matt Kenseth and Dale Jarrett definitely have the quickest race cars on the racetrack.
But do they have enough time? For Jarrett, yes. For Kenseth, we'll see.
4.5 seconds back. Just look at the interval right there on Dale Jarrett. That's in 3 laps.
Did you hear him working with the throttle? I mean, you just can't mat it up off the corner once you get a lot of laps on your tires.
There's your battle, Mike. Battle for 4th. Matt Kenseth just drives underneath Ricky Craven in that 32 car.
Battle's over.
Yeah, it's just
there's no longer a battle.
The thing about when the tires get to this point right here, you just got to stay off that throttle and ease it down like it's got an egg under it. I think right now, if you're leading the race or up there in the first 2 or 3, you just don't want to don't beat yourself. Just drive a smart race and don't do anything to beat yourself.
Kyle Petty and Steve Park just got together in front of Kurt Busch. An anxious moment for the race leader.
Yeah, well, Kyle's got those new tires. You run up on somebody and you know, the guy's trying to get out of your way, and first thing you know, you run into him.
There's the leader lapping Jerry Nadeau.
The closing rate on new tires, the old tires, is almost 10 miles an hour. So you really run up on a guy in a hurry, and he doesn't know which way to go.
See what happened here.
Going off into turn 3. I mean, right there in front of our leader. Kurt was going as high as he could, but he was about to run out of racetrack.
And Kyle couldn't go low. There was a car on the apron looking to pit. Remember we were saying the safest place on the track was way out in front? There is no safe place. Jeff Hammond.
You don't believe that our leader right now has been driving hard. Watch, he can go up here 2 laps ago. This is what he did coming off of 4. He kisses the wall right there off of 4. That's how hard he's up on the wheel right now and how loose that race car is getting.
Jeff, he knows there's only about 12 laps to go, 11 laps to go now, so he knows with DJ right in his rear view mirror, he's got to get all he can.
Right now, he wishes Dale Jarrett was driving the big brown truck. He might be able to get away from that.
Going to put a lap on Mike Skinner.
And Dale Jarrett right now, he's loving this. He knows this guy is really watching his rearview mirror and driving awful hard. He's putting a lot of pressure on him.
And they are in a gaggle of cars, a gaggle of lap cars. They're almost side by side, though, here with 10 laps to go.
And Dale's got the position going down into turn 1.
Heavy traffic ahead. Jarrett has to put 2 wheels on the apron.
This could be ugly.
And look just ahead of him.
That was ugly.
Tons of traffic.
Oh, they touched. It got Kurt Busch out of
Kurt's
shape.
trying to squeeze in between Jarrett and Gordon.
Couldn't do it.
Jarrett would have no part of that. He used the 24 for a pick.
First time Dale Jarrett has led today.
18 car on pit road.
Speed, smooth, take care of it.
Bobby Labonte pits for fuel.
That makes me wonder.
Who else is going to be short on fuel?
It's going to be mighty close.
9 to go. Dick Bergman.
Bobby Labonte coming down pit road for fuel. They weren't too sure if he was going to make it or not. Bobby wanted tires, but his crew chief, Fatback McSwain, has just said negative. I can't take the time. Jim Gilbert with the gas can. Quick, 1, 2, 3, and he's out of here.
But look at the race traffic that Dale Jarrett has to contend with, and a bumper full of Kurt Busch.
Boy, and Kurt Busch has turned his car every way but loose.
And all these guys are fighting to stay on the lead lap. They're doing what they have to do.
More laps
Kurt's getting a little annoyed. I think they're getting a little annoyed with Jeff Gordon up in there, but Jeff's just trying to stay on the lead lap. But now he's been lapped by Dale Jarrett. He needs to let Kurt Busch go on.
And look how far Dale Jarrett and 88's just driving away from Kurt Busch right now. But boy, Kurt got a good run off turn 4 down the front stretch. But right there, that seems like when's where Dale beats him so bad. Kurt's just not getting off the corner.
Yeah, he's loose. See him back end jump out.
Saying Matt Kenseth is coming, and Matt Kenseth is within a second of Kurt Busch.
He is coming in a hurry. It wasn't that long. He was about 3 or 4 seconds behind these guys.
He can't make it. He got too much traffic. Everybody in front of him just have to move out of his way, and that ain't going to happen.
5 laps to go next time by for Dale Jarrett, trying to notch his second Rockingham victory. He has a ton of top 5s here.
More traffic. You got 2 cars running side by side here, the 99 and the 10.
And one of them is Kurt Busch and Matt Kenseth's teammate.
And those two, they're fighting for 12th place, Darrell, so they can't give way.
The spoiler's the 31 car. He's got tires on here. He comes now. He's going to get up in there and get in the way.
Oh, boy. Jeff Green, a quick pit stop for fuel.
Oh, my heart rate's picked up, boys.
Oh, boy, Robbie Gordon underneath all the leaders, scoots through. Jarrett blockaded. Drops to the bottom.
And here comes Kurt on the outside.
And Jack Sprague with fresh tires gets through.
And Kurt's going to get the lead back.
Yes, he is. Jack Sprague held up Dale Jarrett just enough that Kurt Busch gets back by.
And the 99, his teammate, moved out of his way to give him room.
Sprague was faster on fresh tires.
Dale Jarrett's a little quicker than Kurt Busch. I don't know if he can get back around him or not.
Oh,
He gets it a little bit loose right there. Here they come to the line. 3 laps to go. This time, side by side.
Dale Jarrett's got in position. He should have the best line down low. Forces Busch up a little bit. Got to stay off of him as they exit this turn. Kurt's been loose off of there.
They don't have a whole lot of lap traffic to contend with now. They'll become the 2 to go.
Now here's where Busch has been good on the high side.
Takes him high, pushes him up, tries to come in front of him, does.
Still there, clear high, fresh tires.
Tries to put the slide. He did put the slide job on him, tried to cut back under him. Now we got a lap car in the way again.
Larry Foyt going past on fresher tires. A lap and a half.
What either one of those guys would get for just half of a set of tires.
You know, Busch cut under Jarrett, but with Foyt there was no clean air to hold Busch's car down to the racetrack.
Yeah, Kurt's car just got too loose up off the corner, and Dale's car actually looked pretty good up off the corner.
Dale Jarrett went to the high side. White flag this time.
Yeah, he's got a little
white flag.
Matt Kenseth closing.
Boy,
1 to go.
Kenseth has come from way back. If he hadn't had to work through traffic, I think he would probably got the best car, but run out of time.
No lap cars to contend with. Just went right up to the top of the racetrack. Off turn 4, final time.
And Dale Jarrett gets his 31st career Winston Cup victory, beating Kurt Busch by half a second.
Great race.
And Brad Parrott gets his first Winston Cup win as a crew chief. Won a lot of races as a crew chief for a Busch team. Jeff Burton, but he gets his first win. And trust me, Buddy Parrott, Todd Parrott are proud of Brad Parrott.
What's that feel like, Larry, to win your first race? I know what it feels like as a driver, but as a crew chief.
It's a wonderful feeling.
You've done your job.
It takes you a while to realize it, I think.
Yeah, you've done your job.
In Kurt Busch's last 7 races, 3 wins, 2 seconds, a 3rd, and a 6th.
Wow. And he will have the Winston Cup points leaving here.
Kind of leads us to say we can't wait for Vegas.
It was a terrific finish with Jeff Hammond here in the Hollywood Hotel. And as we check out the unofficial results of the Subway 400, Jeff, where did, in your opinion, Dale Jarrett win this race?
I think the communication between his crew, once again, he talked about Brad Parrott. Let's not forget that Todd Parrott was there with him, and all the communication with all of Yates Racing, they made the right adjustments and got that car to victory lane today.
All right, Chevy dominates at Daytona, but really a non-factor here. Only Jimmy Johnson, the only Chevy in the top 14, and Little Lee back of the pack.
Yeah, he's really struggling right now. This is exactly what this team didn't want. He finished 33rd today, 36th down at Daytona. And this is not the way you want to start off the new season.
18th to finish third, that's Matt Winston.
Down a solid run for Ricky here at Rockingham. He finishes fourth this afternoon. Ricky, a lot of sliding around.
DJ, how hard did you have to fight Busch those last few laps to wind up here?
Well, we know what kind of competitor he is. Wasn't sure I was going to be able to get him. We'd both kind of worn our tires out, and I just got to say thanks to Brad Parrott, all the pit crew. They did a great job. To the 38 guys, they came down here and tested, and wouldn't have been for that, we wouldn't have had any idea really where to start with this. We had to make a lot of adjustments all day, but thanks to those guys for their help. Great teammates. Brad's first win. That was tough racing. I mean, you know, at a place where you're trying to get in the gas and your tires are worn out, this UPS Ford did the job.
Kurt, you were just commenting about how it just seems like the fall race and this race were so similar for you.
They ended the same way. This is a much more disappointing second than last week. We just burned the tires off a little bit. I don't know why we're as good as we are for 60 laps. We just can't run that long stretch to 80 laps. So, you know, congratulations, Dale Jarrett, classy guy, won the race today. It was a lot of fun racing him.
You guys were going back and forth.
Yeah, it was good stuff. I mean, I'm real proud of my team, the way we guessed for this setup. We've changed 4 springs like we talked about earlier, and we kept the same shocks on. We didn't know. There were so many things unknown, but the way that these guys built the car made this Ford run as well as it did. I'm real proud of the Rubbermaid team today.